Hello and welcome to the Bookish Rambles podcast with me, Holly.
And me, Becky.
And today we're talking about the two ends of the publishing spectrum. I am, as a writer, pursuing trad pub.
And I'm someone who's gone for the indie side.
And you're actually, I'm in the querying trenches, but your book's coming out in September, early September.
Yeah, 6th of September, so it's like... Well, I just thought I'm sick of trad, so I'm going to take the initiative and do it, because if I'm not getting anywhere with this, I'm going to do it myself.
Yeah, and as well, we're going to talk about a lot of the ups, the downs of both, and obviously it should be fairly balanced because we both have a decent understanding of how both sides work, but as well, you've actually basically finished almost the prep.
Yeah, so it's on being copy edited at the moment by my editor, and then I'll get it back about the 22nd of July, I believe the deadline is. So when that comes back, I've got to do the formatting, and then I've got a mess with Amazon KDP because I've been trying to mess with it today, like the last couple of days. It still doesn't like my book cover, so I can't really do a final thing though because I don't know how many I don't know how many pages the book's going to be. So once I get that final draft, I'll be able to work that out and then see what dimensions I need, because it's a pain in the ballpark. From what I've got, it's got to be, I think my book cover designer, she's done the American version of the 6 by 9 inches. I suppose I could resize it myself but I think the British version came out, like the version I've got came out to about 384 pages, but the 6 by 9 came out to about 274 pages. So I suppose the 6 by 9 would probably be more cheaper, cost effective going by the 6 by 9. It's because of the formatting.
Yeah.
And I suppose it's going to be about 200 pages-ish. I know that's the average amount, which I think is quite good for a young adult book, actually, because it's about the book itself, because I added a few more words, and it comes to roughly, to round it up, about 70,000 words, which is what I wanted originally anyway. So I think that's a good amount as well.
Because as well, like, the perks of being a wallflower, and mine's English copy, that is only like 200 odd pages. Like, it's very slim. And I would say that is a book that's somewhat similar to yours in theme more than anything else.
Yeah, it is.
So I feel like you've got a good word count, and you've got, like, obviously, depending on which version you end up going with, it'll be a good size. And especially for, like, a debut, I think it's really important that you stick to, like, your word count, because obviously people, they're not as likely to want to pick a book up if it's super long for an author that they've never read before.
Oh yeah, like if it was 700 pages, can you imagine?
Literally, like,
I think that's what the first draft was, because the first draft was like 101,000 words.
See, I honestly, like, I for my own book, because I'm currently rewriting, I cut out 3 chapters and I got it up to about 100,000 words, but then I've gotten it back down again just through continuing to rewrite. So, like, I feel like a lot of books that are super high word count, obviously there's, like, different types of books, and obviously it does depend, but I think a lot of authors who are more inexperienced, and look, myself included, okay, my first draft was 101,000 words. I think that, like, it is a thing that they inflate the book with things that aren't necessary, with sentences that go on too long, with, you know, these chapters that don't really do anything, with scenes that don't do anything. And this is a sneak peek of the videos that I was filming this week, but one of the things that I've noticed is that my first draft of Formation Lab, total mess. Like, it was a completely different book than it is now, but also when you compare it to, like, okay, and Project H, which Halcyon, that I will admit it was not a perfect first draft by any means. It has a lot of stuff wrong with it, but even that was significantly better than my draft of Formation Lab. Like, the writing towards the end of that was definitely more put together for a first draft, and I think that it's a sign of, like, growth as a writer when you can look at your work and say, I don't need that. I don't need that extra stuff that doesn't do anything. Like, I would rather cut it out and make it stronger than have it just for the sake of, like, look what I wrote, you know?
Yeah, so what I was going to say is like, if we talk about the whole like process of what we've both been through with trad, I think would be a great place to start, especially if you want to go, because you were querying way before me. So if you want to go like with the whole process of what,
So
I mean, you pulled your queries, didn't you? If I
I
remember
did.
correctly.
I'm gonna.
Yeah.
I have to check how many I sent because I sent not that many actually. Like, again, I made a video about this to talk more in detail about my reasons and whatever. So that'll be up, I think, in like 2 weeks, which is ages away. But basically, I sent 28 queries that have been sent out like and not pulled back. I didn't pull all of the ones that I sent purely because some of them were just a bit more difficult to find the contact info for, and I was like, does it really matter that much? So I have 8 still out, so there's been 20 rejections, which isn't terrible really, like considering, but
I mean, you only sent 28 out. Look at those people that send like 100. And that's like,
yeah.
when you've sent 100 out and you've got 100 rejections, you kind of got to think, what do I need to change at that point, surely?
Literally. And the thing is, I saw that I had no requests, and so I said, I got more responses with my second query letter that I used, which we're part of Novel Bound, we've talked about this before, but there was a query letter critique thing that we did there, and I found that really helpful, so I've changed my query letter a lot, and I got a lot more responses, which I think is a good sign because it means that they're actually seeing this letter and thinking that maybe it has promise and then deciding that the pages are public. Like, that's the way I'm interpreting it. So I decided to just see what my pages were like and if I could improve them. I rewrote like a bunch and I sent so many different versions to the chat. I was like, I am pushing my luck with this. But the difference is huge. Like, it honestly, the first chapter, let me get it up because I'll read like the first paragraph, which isn't very long. So the first paragraph, it's literally 3 lines of the first draft. Well, I say the first draft. The first draft that I like queried with is, the smell of hot air mingling with petrol and burnt rubber is one of the best smells in the world. And my first race weekend in Formula One, that intoxicating smell lingers around the track and pulls me back into my childhood. School breaks spent in overalls and a helmet. So if I then compare that to the new one, which is a bit longer, but under the swollen Bahrain sun, heat lines rise from the tarmac of the car park. In this part of the desert, where sand sweeps underfoot at every breath of wind, the scent of hot air mingling with petrol and burnt rubber pervades me, works its way into my cells until I am intoxicated. It lingers around the track, accompanied by frenzied engines and the whir of wheel guns. I'm pulled back into my childhood, the school break spent in overalls and a helmet. And I feel like that is like a huge difference. And I did get like actual feedback from the people who I was sending it to, who were like, yeah, that has way more voice. So I feel like it was a good thing to start rewriting, and I basically pulled all the queries that I could without it being like so annoying to do so, and then I'm rewriting it, and I'm currently halfway through, so I literally have 12 chapters to edit, which I think like I'm basically going to get back to querying by the end of the month. And because I have like, once I've rewritten it, I'm going to do like a basic edit, like go through and get rid of filler words and whatnot, and then that'll be it. Basically, I'm still planning to query because, and for me, like my journey with Trad Pub, the way that I see it is that I love writing, and I don't mind doing like social media stuff. I think I've posted every day on TikTok for like 2 months or something now, maybe even 3 months, which is kind of insane because like I did try and do that at one point and I hated it. So the fact that I'm somehow doing it is kind of, I think, a sign of growth on my end. My comfort level in front of the camera maybe, but I feel like for me it's the right path because I want to focus more on the writing and on just doing like that in my own way, and I feel like it's a lot easier to do that if I'm not having to also worry about everything else. Like, well, you're going to explain the process that you've gone through so far, and I'm just going to say now, I am not the kind of person who could get all of the stuff done that you've gotten done. Like, your work ethic, huge, amazing.
Yeah, that's probably. I don't know why. I think it's like if I set my mind to something, I will do it. I think that's the kind of gist of it. So, long story short, I did do the traditional way, as they say, because I thought I'll do it this way because this is how people do it. Yeah. So I wrote over the course. It took me probably about a year and a bit to write 3 drafts of. The first draft was a mess. Second draft, obviously, I just rewrote the whole thing, keeping some stuff. And then the third draft, I had beta readers, and you read it as well, so you were on beta readers, so I completely rewrote it. Then I wrote the query letter, the synopsis, and what's the other thing? Query letter. Oh yeah, first, and then obviously did the first 3 chapters. So I think I sent out my queries out in batches, and I think I sent about 5 or 10.
Yeah.
It might have been 5, and then I was just getting rejections, and I was like, okay, maybe it's something to do with my query letter. So I paid for a query letter critique, and then sent out some more, and I still kept getting rejected. I'm just looking at the ones that I actually had, and it says I've got 13 rejections here. The fastest rejection I had was 5 days, and then the longest was 55. And then the rest were all closed no response, so 13. And then closed no response, I had 12. So whatever 12 plus 13 is. So I sent 25 queries out. So yeah, and I think I was kind of getting a bit disheartened with it because...
Well, you didn't trad pub anyway, because like I remember before you even started querying, we definitely spoke about how you had considered indie publishing because you liked
the control, yeah.
Like there is okay, I guess this is like thing number 1 between them is that with indie publishing you have more control, and the cost of that is that you are responsible for everything.
But the downside is you have to pay for everything.
Yeah, and the thing is you're willing to do that. Like you were happy, obviously you were, but I think that for me was like the big one, was that like I don't trust myself because I am a mess of a person. Especially like right now, like there's just no way that I would have had the motivation. But like you knew that you wanted it to be set in the UK. You didn't want to compromise that. And an example I would use is A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. Is that what it's called? Did I say that right?
Yeah, we've talked about this book before. I think we've mentioned it about 4 times now.
Okay. But they changed...
Yeah.
My brain was just like, but they changed that book for the American publishing, and you didn't want to do that because like it feels weird. Like even for me, I'm like, I would hate if I got published by somebody who, because I use English, I don't know what it's called, but like English style, so like I use single instead of double quotation marks.
Fun fact, English, the UK the British English uses both, so you can use double speech marks, single speech marks, and you can use the American spelling and the British spelling. Obviously, not interchangeably.
So
I know, it's dead weird. That's why I grew up using double speech marks, because I never got berated for that. But obviously, with my master's course, I did get berated for it, so I have to use single now. So it's like, okay. I love double speech marks, though.
See, I grew up with double speech marks, but I really I think because I read a lot of classics, there are a lot of classic authors, including American authors, who would use the single, because I think that, like, that was one of the things that the style was... It was, again, it depends on your teaching. Like I grew up with double, but I read a lot of books with single, and I was like sort of led to believe that single was the standard for a while. So for me, I just went along with single, and I like that now, I'll be honest. I force myself to use double when I publish online so that people don't go like, that's wrong, why are you using that? Because people can be so picky. Like, I use the double, I use English spelling, what are the other things? Like,
Yeah, realise has an S in, not a Z.
Yeah.
It's not a Z. That drives me insane.
Oh.
It's not a Z, it's S, Microsoft Word.
I think
And Scrivener.
Collins maybe if you get published by HarperCollins, their in-house
They have-
style is American.
Yeah, which is annoying.
I saw an author that I follow who was like, yeah, my books get published with these because... Oh no, here's the way. She used American... I'm saying American style, you know what I mean. But her...
American style.
like pancakes or something.
American style pancakes. It sounds like some sort of like... just like... What? I don't know. Just like some sort of weird...
A fun menu.
I don't know where I was going with that. Yeah, something weird. Yeah, American style pens or something.
But no, honestly,
I don't know where I was going with that.
She used like American punctuation, but then her publishing company made her use single, so they changed it. And one of the comments on her Goodreads, which is absurd, was that it wasn't properly punctuated because it didn't use double speech marks. If you are going onto a public platform to complain about the way that somebody, like, you better be prepared to acknowledge that you're an idiot. Like,
is that the one that I saw? Like, someone made a TikTok about that?
Yeah, there's been so many people.
Is that the one I've seen? It might have been the one I saw, and it's like...
Honestly, I think it's way more common, but it's like, it just, like, literally, there are a lot of classics on my shelf that do have single speech, and I think it's so weird. Like, if you're gonna write a review and that's like a big complaint, could you maybe at least check? Because why do you think that a publisher would publish it if it was wrong?
To be fair, though, some publishers haven't been proofreading properly, have they?
Yeah, but, like, there's a huge difference between... Because, okay, here's the thing. Unless you replaced humans, and even then, because, like, machines make so many mistakes, as we have discussed with the... Like, my Scrivener, my Google Docs are in... Oh my god, the spelling of tyres. It doesn't accept, even though it's in English UK, it doesn't expect my, like, that drives me nuts because I use it so often, obviously. It's insane to me, like, stop telling me that it's wrong.
That would drive me insane.
I feel like the speech marks thing, how are you gonna assume that slipped by every single time? I don't get it. It was purposeful. Anyway, but yeah, that's my point, is that, like, I love my single quotation marks. You can steal them from me in the middle of the night if you want me to stop using them, but even then I reckon you'll have a hard time. Because I love them, and I don't have anything against people who don't use them. I
think my main gripe with them is, like, you know, when you quotate something.
Yeah.
I like using single quotation marks. Yeah. And then using double for speech. That's kind of the reason that I use them for. So. Well,
see, I use them for both of that. But then if you're quoting in speech, you have to use double around the stuff that's being quoted in the speech.
English is stupid.
It's so bizarre, and you have to, like, leave a space so that you can clearly see. So it looks really dumb. There's, like, oh god, let me try and figure out where it is.
Do you know what my favourite thing is, though? Speaking of speech, you know how they have that upside down question mark in Spanish?
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, I love it. Why can't we have something cool like that? No, we've got stupid speech marks.
In general, we don't have accents in our speech.
No.
And it's quite sad, because, like, obviously it's a bit more annoying to learn when, well, I say that. It's more annoying when you're not American, or, no, we're not American, not European, and because I think as well, like, obviously the word cafe, I feel like that's one of those things where if you
blame the Normans.
Literally though, like, if you listen to the word cafe and you know that there's an accent, then you're aware, presumably, that, like, there's gonna be, do you know what I mean? Like, you can see that accent means an A sound, so you get the...
Yeah, but people don't pronounce it like cafe, though. They say calf, a calf. So, like, there's no point in it being there when people don't pronounce it correctly.
But yeah, it's really frustrating, I think, that we don't have anything special about our speech. We just have, like, really annoying rules that don't make any sense.
Yes, but what's interesting is that, well, obviously with the traditional, you know, and I was, like, going back to, like, indie, and because I think that just kind of gave me the push where I was like, I'm just gonna sit here getting rejected, and it doesn't feel great. Like, I'm okay with them, but it's like they don't give you a reason as to why. And even when I had that, like, pitch, you know, when I did that pitch contest and I had that agent, like, so it's like, to me, the idea, I think it kind of just proved to me that that if I'm getting agent likes, and then I think I had an acquisitions editor reblog my pitch during Pitch Quest.
Ooh.
I know. I think they were just doing it to boost people, but it's like the fact that, if these people are interested in this pitch, and all the feedback I've had, like the positive feedback, obviously I've had bad like feedback where I can improve stuff, which is, yeah, that's what you want, isn't it? It's like people have enjoyed the idea, so I'm like, of course I'm gonna go with the people that are saying they like the idea, and then to me this idea is marketable.
And see, that's the thing with me as well, is like, obviously we're taking different routes, but I am putting so much work into editing my book because I know that the idea, I know that the book itself is good enough. I just need to make it better, which I could, because I mentioned this, like, in, again, my videos, but, like, I've only been working on writing properly for a year. Like, I've always been a writer, but I've never been consistent. There have been probably whole years where I've gone without writing anything for fun. But then last year, about a year and 2 weeks ago now, I decided to start taking it seriously. And I feel like it's very natural that, like, you probably experienced the same because you had the idea a long time ago, but you've really been focusing on it since, you've been in education and you've, like, learned and grown your skills and stuff. Like, I think the more that you learn and grow as a writer, the more capable you become of accepting that the stuff that you've written wasn't as good as it could be now. And, like, I didn't know that what I had written in January and had sent out to agents wasn't the best that it could be. But I feel like the difference is night and day between that one and the version that I've got now. And, like, as I'm going through, I'm reading stuff and I'm like, this sentence structure could be stronger. This paragraph could be stronger. This could get cut out completely. Like, I've cut out whole scenes. I've done, like, loads of editing, and I feel like you're at a point where you were capable of that when you were querying, and all that you needed was basically just to have a fresh set of eyes on it to tell you what actually to improve so that it was ready to be published. And that's what you've done by getting it professionally edited. Like,
Yeah.
you've cut out the middle step of getting an agent and hoping that it gets picked up by a publishing company, because you're ready for it to be published now. Whereas with me, I'm still in the stage where I'm like, oh god, I was an idiot.
Well, that's the thing. Like, writing is it's so unique for everybody. Like, even someone on my course, I mean, she's a published author, but she doesn't have an agent. When I was first looking, well, obviously for agents, I asked her if she had any rejections, and she showed me a rejection email because I'd never seen one, like, from a person before. So even if you watch YouTube videos, they don't really show them very often, do they? So
because it's
that was
a weird
interesting.
thing, isn't it? Like, it kind of feels private, but at the same time, like, it doesn't feel significant after you've received however many. It's like, yeah, it's a rejection. But
Yeah, well, she said to everybody, she was like, well, or someone, I can't remember who it was to. I think it was to someone. I can't remember, honestly, but she said that she thought, well, I've got a book deal. Why don't I just take the book deal and I'll represent myself? And she's had like 5 or 6 books published.
I mean, that's crazy good.
Exactly. And, like, they're in Waterstones, and she goes around schools and promotes a book because she writes a lot of kids' history books. Like, her recent book that she wrote was about, like, the wrong tracks, yes, the Rainhill trials in 1829, about the birth of the steam locomotive.
That's the one that you were talking about, yeah.
Yeah, and I could tell she'd wrote it because it was very, like, yeah, I could tell you wrote this because it was very her style. So the fact that obviously it's been copy edited, but the fact that I could still tell that she wrote it because her style is very unique. She writes quite snippy in her writing. And there's an example here. So if I read, you're a liar, Edward Entwistle. Admit it. We won't let you get away now. Hold tight, lads. There are 3 of them. All sneering voices and snatching hands are there upon me. Desperation lends me strength. My shirt sleeve rips noisily as I tuck free from the lad's grasp. That's what I mean. It's really, like, snappy. That is available on Google Books, by the way. That is literally the first page, so it's not like I'm actually giving her work away for free.
Yeah, no, I've got the sample up on Amazon.
You can look 61 pages that are free to look on Google Books. I didn't know you could have that. Oh my god, is the whole book available on Google? Oh no, it's just 61. Okay.
It's just, the rest is not free.
No.
But see, like, that's the thing, right? Like, I feel like personally I'm at a point where I kind of need an agent because I need somebody who's going to be able to guide me through the process, and like people who, especially because like this is the thing, right? It's like motivation. You have the motivation, you have the sort of perseverance needed to self-pub. I know that I don't. I know that like if I didn't get a few sales, which is very normal, it's very normal for self-published authors to have like, you know, slower sales months and whatnot, I would take that as a personal failure. And I know that that's why I need like an agent who's going to be willing to bat for me even when I'm not capable of doing the same, you know? Like, that's my logic behind it. I get that's what it boils down to, is that like I need somebody who can reassure me that this is a good idea or this isn't a good idea or whatever. But you know yourself really well now, and you're older than me. I feel like that is important. Not to be like, you're old. But like,
are you sure?
But like, because you're not old, you know.
Of course not.
I know.
I'm joking.
I will say, like, I've always believed, and the more that I see of people online, like, I do truly believe that, like, when you hit your 30s, that's when your life starts to sort of start panning out the way that you expected, you know? And when it hits the rhythm that it's supposed to be at. And I think I'm 22. I'm not even 23 yet. And, like, obviously there's been a lot going on. I've had a lot of stuff go on in my life. Not, like, obviously the worst stuff ever. Like, I'm not going to complain about it. But there's definitely some stuff that's happened in my life that has negatively impacted the way that it's gone. And I feel like sometimes my maturity level is impacted by the experiences that I didn't get to have as a result of the stuff that I've been through. And I accept that. And I think that maybe, you know, especially because I'm also neurodivergent brains apparently do take longer to fully develop, which makes sense because it's a brain disorder. But basically what I'm trying to say is that, like, I know that I'm not as strong in myself yet as I think I would need to be in order to self-publish and to have the faith in myself and the grit to self-publish. Whereas you know who you are, and you know who you are as a writer, and it's the way that you said it, like, and you've said it to me before, where you know that what you have is good. And like, I know that what I have is good, but I know that what I have is good in theory, and I need people to tell me that it's good in practice before I believe it. Whereas you just know. And I feel like that is, I think, a huge difference, is that you are able to self-publish because you have that quality.
I feel like I'm terrible with compliments, oh my god. But I think, I know, but I think a lot of it is to do, one, like, I know I've got a very high drive when it comes to certain things, but when it comes to other things, I could not give a damn. Like, for example, I think, I'm trying to think of an example here. If you took, like, I suppose it's like with sports, right? If I used to play hockey, I had no drive for hockey. I could not give one about hockey. So I used to just skip. I used to skip sometimes.
Do you know what?
My mum was trying to encourage me, but, like, I didn't care. If it's something, I've been like this since I was 12 years old. Again, this is a very important age. I feel like I had a lot of realization at 12 years old.
I think it's a big age because it's the border of being a teenager as well, which it's not necessarily as huge a deal as I think some people make it seem. But, like, you've started secondary school, you know, you've often met a lot of new people at that point.
Yeah. And not to say, like, I'm different, but I've always felt like I never really fit in a weird way. And I still don't necessarily with people, which is fair, but everyone's different. But, like, I always felt like everybody, you know, growing up, like, all these girls knew what to do and how to fit in. And I'd be like, how do you do this stuff? How do you do that? And I'm like, I just don't understand how people can mold themselves to fit in a certain way. I mean, I learned how to do it eventually because I kept just observing, but, like, even when I was a kid, I was just like, I was kind of the one left out, if you want to say, because I just couldn't understand how these people fit in. But then again, then you learn as you get older that it's like they're not fitting in, they are fitting in, but they're changing themselves.
Yeah. See, I fully understand that because, like, and this is the thing that we've got a little bit of a hypothesis about you, but I fully appreciate the same sentiment. I was like, when I was growing up, the thing is, I think a lot of girls go through like a not like other girls phase that they then grow out of. I feel like I grew out of mine pretty quick, because when I entered secondary school, I was like in love with makeup, and I loved doing makeup, but I never felt good enough, and I never felt like I could wear it outside of the house because, oh well, I'm not a person who wears makeup. And so like I'm starting to put more effort into that sort of stuff now, because it's something that I really care about, but also that I've never felt comfortable doing. And I feel like it fits into that part of like, there is a version of yourself that you know, and there's a version of yourself that other people know, and sometimes it feels really weird to like force yourself, even if you're not forcing yourself. Like you might enjoy something, but it might not come naturally, and that might be difficult because you associate it the same way that you associate something that you don't want to do. Like like if that's difficult and I don't want to do it, and this is difficult and I think I want to do it, then I must not actually want to do it. I've explained that very badly, but like because as well,
See,
like,
that's yeah. No, okay, I was just about to say, like, I feel like that's another reason why, just to add this, just to go back to the original book. The reason I wanted to do the reason I wanted to do indie in the first place is because, like, it's being true to myself. I think it reflects who I am, and the reason, like, I lost myself for a bit. I think because I finished my degree, then I ended up working for a bit, and then because I'm 28, so I've worked for quite a while in full, like I was working bank, then I got a job in a school that I absolutely hated, then I went back to my original work, then I found another place to work at, and I stayed there for about 5 years doing apprenticeship and things like that, and then I climbed to the top, and I thought, right, I'm at the top now of where I can go. Is this it? And I'd lost myself almost, and like I wasn't doing any writing, I wasn't doing anything, I was reading and stuff, but I had lost myself. Because writing, like, obviously you should never tie yourself down to your writing, but it's such a passion. Like, I've been writing since I was 12. I've been writing since 2009. Like, that's 16 years.
It's a long time.
It's a long time, and you think that's probably how I'm able to write at my skill set now. I mean, I'm studying a master's degree. That's crazy. Yeah. And I thought, and I had an epiphany. This is going to sound really stupid, but I think I watched. There's Julie and the Phantoms, right? This show, this kids show, and like, it kind of made me fall in love with, like, I was like, I really enjoy the cheesiness of this, and I'm like, I really enjoyed the storytelling, and I'm like, I lost this passion for a long time, and it's brought it back. It's crazy how TV shows do that. The fact that the TV show got cancelled, we won't talk about that, but it just brought this passion back, and I thought, what? I need to get back to writing. And I've always wanted to write my debut novel as this book, because this book is very important to me. And obviously, I put a lot of, like, it reflects a time that I was struggling with, and that I've had to learn how to deal with, and this book has helped me come to terms with that.
You know what, I'll say, like, a TV show that did the same thing for me is My Name is Earl, which also got cancelled, by the way. Oh. They, like, were promised that it wasn't going to be cancelled. So it ended on a cliffhanger. And,
people just cancel shows.
But it's such a good show, and, like, the writing is so good. Like, it's a show that, honestly, it makes me feel all warm and fuzzy inside, and I discovered it for the first time, like, a year ago, give or take. And the reason why I started writing my book last year was because I had been dealing with the illness that I've got. I don't know if I've mentioned this on the podcast, but like I've got a physical health problem at the minute that we still haven't diagnosed, because it takes about an arm and a leg to get the NHS to do stuff. But
an arm and a leg and another body.
Yeah. But I was like really bad, and I was really bad mentally because my physical state meant that I couldn't do much. So my mind was just like, and to begin with it was fine because my mind was like so focused on survival, but like the more that I got like healthier, the and I did like air quotes for that, by the way, just to be clear, but like the more that my body got better, the more that my brain came back, and then the more bored I became, the more depressed I became, because I was like, well, I'm not doing anything. And so I decided to just write a book that I had literally come up with the idea for a few months earlier, and I'd been planning it for months. I'd been coming up with the characters and whatnot. Didn't do any outline, because of course I didn't, but I started writing it for that reason, and I feel like that saved me. it made me feel like myself again. It made me remember that like my brain was capable of doing things that I was really proud of. And like, okay, yeah, the writing was terrible because I hadn't written anything at that point for like probably about a year and a half, I think, creatively. So the muscle was very unused, but it does really save your personality. It reminds you exactly of why you love it so much and of how important it is to you. And I'm sure that you can understand this because the way that we talk when we're not doing the podcast stuff, like you mention a lot about how you finally get to write your book, and it's like you miss it. It's an addiction. Like you know, you've gotten into this writing groove, and then you stop, and you just like, I want to keep going. I want to keep writing.
I know, and I can't really work on two projects at the same time. Like that's how I wish I could, but I can't because my brain is just like I need to focus on one thing at a time. Which is like why it's why I'm working on my dissertation at the moment. So that's just my main priority before I start writing my next book.
But that's the thing. I think that's one of the things that I'm kind of scared about a trad pub. Like I will say that, because I think one thing I was going to say is that like I think for me, right now the idea of publishing a book is out of the question because I don't have the energy for that. But the idea of like querying a book and making progress that way whilst also continuing to write, that's what I like. And I feel like you're doing kind of the opposite, where you've got a book that's finished. Well, again, finished. Still a bit of work left, but it's a book that you don't have to put as much energy into in the drafting phase while you finish up your degree. And
I know, well, 2 years, that's crazy. 2 years.
Yeah. It honestly, when this book gets published, it's going to be like a huge thing because by then you'll have graduated, right?
Well, no, because the dissertation's due and it's the 26th of September is the deadline. Then I get my results in October. So the graduation ceremony isn't till March, so it won't be till March next year.
It's oh god, it's so late, honestly.
It's crazy. I know, but I think because it's a math, I don't know. But what's speaking of storytelling, like I'm reading through One Piece at the moment. Like some of the best arcs. Like I've been looking through some of the arcs because like the arc I just read was okay. But some of the character writing's amazing in it. Yes, like some of it is really simple, but the best arcs so far have been where the characters have stakes, and there's an arc coming up about one of the characters where it's going to have stakes, and I'm so seated for it. I love emotional stakes and where characters have to are affected, because that's the best storytelling, conflict.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things that you were quite on the indie publishing route. You were so determined because you didn't want to change the setting, you didn't want to change the way that the setting impacted the characters.
Yeah, because it's like I've said this before, but if this book was set in America, it would not be the same book because of the British.
This is something that I've mentioned before. The way that Penny and her sort of situation, like for example where she lives, I cannot imagine the impact of the descriptions being the same if it was set not in the UK or like even in Europe, because I think that there are some places in Europe, for example like Berlin, maybe in the certain communist areas, where you could imagine a similar sort of vibe. But I feel like that's such an important thing because it's like it's not poverty, but it's not wealth.
No, but it's how some people live.
Yeah, and it's like, as someone who's grown up in a city that is like in the north of England, it very much like, there are so many blocks of flats that I go past on a daily basis when I just go anywhere, and that most of them are for people who have very little income. That these houses are the social housing. Like every little piece of the city, you can tell whether or not, just from context of having lived there, that these things mean this about the people that live there. And it's not a bad thing, obviously. I'm not wealthy.
No.
By any means. Opposite end, actually. But I think that is such an important detail, and it is so clear because of the setting that it's in. It's imbued into this world instinctively.
And which is why it's set in the north. In terms of the indie, going back to the subject, so there are obviously the downsides to it. So is the cost. Money, yeah, that is the big cost. So I have paid for everything out of my own pocket. Luckily, I have a job.
Yeah.
It's I mean, it's a 0 contract, but it's a job, and I had savings, so that is how I've paid for everything. Because I think even with this, yeah, it's an investment, so you have to really, it's something that you have to really think about. And to be fair, I was going to use the savings for something else anyway, so I thought, well, why not use it for this book? So like everything, I've paid everything out of my own pocket. I haven't borrowed any money or anything, so it's all out of my own pocket, all my own savings. So that's what you've got to be aware of.
I think that's the thing, is like, you're not doing this alone. You have a community, because you're an indie publisher, and that's a very strong community of people that continuously, more people, myself included, like this is not a tangent, this is, believe it or not, related. But I am an English lit student. I'm currently on a break because of the health reasons, but my plan was always, since I was like 13, to get my degree and then become an editor assistant at a publishing company, right? And I even specifically was like, I want to work at Faber, because that's a publishing company that I really like a lot of their books. So I had like that plan, and I understand that like you have to be the change you want to see in the world or whatever, but I cannot see myself enjoying that kind of work if the publishing world is continuing in the way that it's going.
And this is why I want to set my own publishing company up, which technically I am, when you think about it.
Yeah, because but like, I think that's the thing, is like, as well, I sent you yesterday, there was a very famous fan fiction author who got
the Dramoni, yeah.
And I think that like, it literally is just a sign of, because I have nothing against fanfiction. We've talked about this. I
write it, so
I'm reading right now is the sequel to The Three Musketeers, which is, by the way, fanfiction. Okay, it uses real life people, real life politics, and it just like, it's not even a joke like that. It's literally a guy who was like, I'm going to write a book about this.
See, that's the that's a topic for another day. Fan fiction itself, because I believe that kind of everything is fan fiction in a way, because every sort of story is recycled. So yeah,
and I find it like, it is a huge basis of my development as a writer, and so I think it's very important. But I do think it's worth mentioning that if you write fan fiction and then you publish that for profit, you are making money off of somebody else's. And okay, in this instance, we don't care about the person who wrote the original stuff. Even if we don't like the person whose IP is being used here, I do think it's worth mentioning that like, there is a huge difference between writing fanfiction and writing a novel. And if you are going to publish something, you better make it very different, and you better make it actually good, and not sell it based off of the fact that you wrote fanfiction for this thing. Like, that is for me a problem with the industry, where it shows that they're trying to capitalize on all of this stuff that is popular online, on the tropes, on not necessarily like the integrity of reading, and on like the fact that, you know, the book is supposed to be good, not just enjoyable, but also good. You know, you have to have good world building, you have to have good characters and development of both of those things. Like, you can't just write a book that's got a bunch of tropes in it and then it be published, because people, they eat it up, and I get that, but you as a publisher have to acknowledge that like, that isn't a sustainable business model. Like,
no,
it's very frustrating to me. And so like, I've changed my plan, my life plan that I've had since I was 13 for almost 10 years, because of the way that it's developing, and because I like can't stand the thought of reading a book that I love and having to say, no, this is never going to get published because it won't sell. Because if it's a genuinely fantastic book, the idea of it not getting published, I think, would just make me lose faith in the business. And so like, I would much rather, like, I have a literary magazine that I run, and I'm very happy to hopefully one day see that become a huge thing, you know, like the New York Times level. Dream big.
Yeah.
But if that was to happen, I wouldn't compromise, you know, what I value in reading. And I would rather put my energy and my passion into an area that is going to reciprocate it, rather than one that's going to turn me into like, oh, that's good, but yeah, it's not got this trope, so it's not getting published, which is definitely a problem that the industry has right now. And I'm hoping it will get better, and if it does, I may even go for a job, but like the idea of selling my soul to get a job in publishing and then hating that job because of how the industry is, like I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
It's such a waste. And like that for me is one of my gripes with the trad publishing. Like I will acknowledge that while I want to be published by them, it's a very, like, I fully understand and appreciate you wanting to trad no, the opposite of that. Sorry. Sorry, my mouth is so dry. And like,
I know what you meant. I know indie pub. I know what you meant. But like, especially with the issues with trad, you've got royalties, like advances.
Oh.
You don't get paid your royalties until you've earned out your advance.
which is, a lot of people never do it.
No, and like you're apparently you have to do your own marketing as well anyway. So it's like, well, if
Yeah.
you got to do your own marketing, they don't spend a budget. So it's like, well, I might as well just do it myself then, doesn't it? Like what is, for me, the cons outweigh the pros for trad.
Yeah.
Especially, I had to do that essay on it, especially where I'm like,
You did, yeah.
well, yeah, you get represented by an agent, but the agent takes like 13%, so does the publisher, and then you might never earn out your advance, and your book might not do very well in sales. The best
like,
thing is it'll just be in a bookshop.
Of every bookstore.
Yeah, but like hopefully, and it's like, oh yeah, you'll just get it into bookshops. So it's like, well, some indie bookshops will actually take books, and I might be able to get I'm hoping I might be able to get my book in. Well, I'm doing a book launch at an indie bookshop because indie bookshops are great for publishing, and I might email some other bookshops at some point.
But I think that, like, honestly, the only reason that I really like TradPub is because of, among other things, I will say the cover design. I have no idea what my covers would look like. I go back and forth all the time. Like, for me, the stress of it all, like, I would rather be stressed about querying than stressed about, like, making my book presentable for people. Do you know what I mean?
See,
like it's a priorities
yeah.
thing. Like, you know what you wanted and you've got a beautiful cover.
Oh yeah, I've always had an idea like that in my head. I was like, I want something. Obviously, like my book cover designer, they designed it. Like they add their own flair to it. I was like, I actually like this more. So it's like a mix of the two. So it's like you work. It's like a collaborative effort.
Yeah.
And I'm so happy with the way it looks. It looks amazing.
And see, that for me is like, it's like the proof that you were made for self-publish, the self-publishing journey, because like you know what you want, you know what it could be. And as I said, I think this might just be like a life experiences thing. Like we've had, you're a little bit older, I'm a little younger, and maybe you've just developed over time this understanding of your own work that I don't have yet as a newer writer, shall we say? And I feel like
I think it's down to how like, because Formation Lab was the first book you ever wrote, wasn't it? So like, would you say did you write stories in the past though, by any chance?
I'd written stories and I'd like come up with the ideas for books, but I'd never really like.
Yeah.
I've written hundreds of thousands of words, but never for one thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like, I mean, it wasn't, I suppose it wasn't a full-length novel, but it's like, when I was 12, I, like Dolphin Island book, geez, like, that is my first novel I ever wrote. Like, I mean, it's not very long, but I literally wrote that in a notebook, and I wrote it from the first page to the last page of the notebook, and then I wrote 2 more books afterwards.
I think that like you have very much, your path has built you, like the stepping stones have been placed so that you go along this route and it's what's right for you. And for me, I feel like I would have to put those stones down myself, and I don't have the energy to do that. Which sounds really lazy, but like it's different. Paths are better for different people, and they're both, they both have good things, they both have bad things. For you, self-publishing makes total sense, and it like it's what's like the best for your book right now. Especially for me, I feel like TradPub is something that I have a really good chance of getting, especially because the film came out last month. Bit different. I feel like I have hope, and I have that feeling inside of me where I'm like, this is the right path. And that's important. I guess if anyone's listening who is listening to this because they don't know which path is right for them, it really, like, you should fully just weigh up both sides, because like, as I said, between the money and the level of like me having to do the own everything, I just know that I would be a mess if I self-published, and my book wouldn't get what it deserved. Whereas you have what it takes to do that, and it actually pay off, in my opinion. Obviously, we have yet to see, but like, I have no doubt that because you've set up a book signing and everything. Like,
Yeah, that's what I was on about earlier. So
I would
yeah,
have been way
like,
too embarrassed to even begin doing that. Like,
well, I've got to do because like that's such it's a marketing tactic as well.
Yeah.
Like obviously I'm going to be nervous on the day because I think a lot of people I know are going to come down because I've mentioned it. I haven't posted about the book signing to anyone else apart from people I know yet because the bookshop haven't put it on their socials yet because I think they're just waiting for it being close to the time. But if they don't put it, I will email and just make sure I'm still confirmed because they have had another author who did a book signing and I saw the post and I sent them to you, didn't I?
Yeah,
And it said they'd sold out. So I'm like, I have high hopes because I mean it's in the middle of the city and people still go there. So
and I believe it. I have like full faith that if anyone can do it, you can, you know? And I think that's the thing is like you have to trust your instincts. Your instincts told you self, mine told me trad, and those have been backed up, I think, so far by valid like reasonings.
yeah.
And yeah, and as far as it goes with you and your signing journey, like I've also mentioned to you, I believe that like some people go to like markets and car boot sales and stuff and do it that way.
Yeah.
Like you are the kind of person who I can fully see not giving up and selling a bunch of books just for you, like pure like, hi, I'm an author, this is my book.
Buy it.
And I feel like, yeah, like it makes sense. It fits. And I feel like, oh, it's so weird because like obviously I know you better than most of the people who are listening to this will know you. But it really is, it feels kind of like preordained, if that's a word that you would use maybe. Like maybe we're
I don't
built
know
for
that word,
these.
but I know what you mean.
I do think honestly that for all of the pain that both of the different paths can cause, when you find the one that you're pretty sure is the right one, the benefits will outweigh the bad stuff.
Yeah. Like I say, it's up to what it's basically. I suppose it would follow the person's personality and what they want out of their book, and it's good that they've got that. They've got that option. Obviously, there are people that prey on indie publishers. Please watch out for don't fall for vanity publishing.
Yes.
It's very dangerous. Basically, you should never have to pay to publish a book.
But
what I mean by that,
to publish it as a publisher, and they're
asking for money,
that's a scam. Okay?
Yes.
Because you're going to have to do everything that an indie publisher would, except...
So you might as well just publish it yourself.
Yeah, like you're going to probably end up spending more money. So don't do it.
Yeah.
And I think his other thing is like, the option is always there. Like if I try trad publishing and I end up later down the line feeling more confident in my own ability to market myself, depending on where I end up, I could always go to self-publish. And like, you could always decide to try and trad publish your next book. Like you know, the path is never sealed off just because you took the other one.
Exactly, like which is what the hybrid's about, really, isn't it?
Yeah,
but
hybrid
even
publishers are different than vanity publishers. I will say that to people. There are some very good hybrid publishers where people are like, I'm very grateful that I had someone to take care of most of the stuff, you know?
Yeah, it's like a hybrid publisher would be, I suppose that's more indie than anything, isn't it? UCLan, that university, especially who the author I was on about earlier, she's published by them.
My uncle self-published a book, and so like they're very much, neither is worse than the other. It just depends on your preferences as a person, as a writer for your career. And I feel like we're it's wrap up time, so we're kind of rambling.
It's very hot as well.
It's so warm. I like every time that I open my mouth, it dries up.
Oh, lovely.
But like, basically, I'm excited for your book to get self-published. I believe that you have a very good chance as a self-publisher. I'm hoping I have a good chance as a trad publisher.
I think you do. I think you'll just have to keep going because you never know. You just got to shoot your shot.
I'm just like, you know what? There is a girly pop audience out there of Formula One viewers.
Exactly, girly pop.
Well, that's
I just saw what you just said. Girly pop. I've never heard you say anything like that before.
You know?
Yeah, I know. I've never thought you would say that word, but okay.
I believe that we both have like a solid chance. And our timescales are different, but then like our timescales have been different.
Exactly.
I'm willing to wait like a year longer of, trying and failing and trying and failing. before I
Yeah.
give up on this book. You wanted to get it done because you believed that it deserved to be, and
Yeah, because it's a very important story, and I don't want to give up on it.
I can't wait till it's in my hand. Oh, I think I've decided I'm gonna not read it until I have a physical copy because I want to annotate. That's the plan.
Okay.
Anyway, thank you for listening.
Yeah.
This was a mess. It wasn't as informative as perhaps it could have been. I hope that it was like insightful from the perspective of two authors. Good luck in your own journeys, whatever they are.
Yeah.
And best of luck. Goodbye.
Bye.